What's up YouTube, this is Santos representing Neo Overlay Network, and I'm here to show you guys a Witchcrafter deck profile. After the release of the 10s, a few cards came out that are made this card more viable, and I just want to show you guys what I've been running, and I feel it's just the right time to show you the sauce because I've been running a few spicy techs and I want to show you guys, and yeah, let's get into this. Alright, for the first 3 ofs, I run 3 Witchcrafter Genie. She's, well, like all Witchcrafter monsters have the effect that when they're summoned, or like you should discard a spell card to special summon Witchcrafter monster from your deck. And then her other effect, when she's in the graveyard, she has that when a Witchcrafter spell is in the graveyard, you could banish her and the spell to activate that effect, and it will become her effect. And you use that pretty often because although Witchcrafter spells, you pretty much have a lot of spells in this deck. So yeah, she's important. For the other 3 ofs, I run 3 Witchcrafter Verre, I don't run the other level 2 Witchcrafter because pretty much she sucks. Like, she's not even good, and I don't know. Just these are the most optimal and the best ones, I feel. And you gotta maximize. So the other 3 ofs, I run this level 3 Verre because her first effect, like all of them have, you could discard a spell card and to tribute her to special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your deck. And her other effect is that when she's in the graveyard, you could banish her, draw a card, and discard a Witchcrafter spell, or just a Witchcrafter card for a cost. So you get to draw, and you could discard a Witchcrafter. And most of the Witchcrafter spells at the end of the phase, you get to return them. So in a way, you benefit from her effect from banishing her. And the new trap card lets you add Witchcrafter monsters that are banished back to your hand. So they have that banished effects. So she's good in that regard. And for the next 3 of, I run 3 Witchcrafter Shmita. When like all of them have, when they're just summoned, or during their main phase, you could discard a spell to special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your deck. And when she's in the graveyard, she has the effect that when you could banish her and send a Witchcrafter card to the graveyard. So she's good because you could send any card you need to the graveyard, and you want to maximize these 3 ofs because the other level 2 is just not really good. Now for the 2 ofs, I run 2 Witchcrafter Hane. Hane is pretty much your main beater. You're trying to beam her out, I guess, in my deck. Her effect is that you try to use the other level 3s and the lower level monsters to bring her out, because during their player's turn, she could pop a card, target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. So she's pretty good in that aspect, but she is dark, so she is super poly target. But 1 is not enough, because sometimes they get banished or something happens, and just 2 is fine because she is a brick in hand. And yeah, that's why you just run 2. And for the other 2, I run 2 Witchcrafter Golem Aruru. She's also here because running 1 is not enough, and sometimes you do want to see her in your hand because her effect is that when your monster is getting targeted for an attack, or just targets a Spellcaster monster on your side of the field, you could special summon her and target one of your opponent's cards and send it back to the hand. So when one of your Spellcasters getting a target for attack, you could special summon her and but send back to the hand that attacking monster. So she protects you in that, and she's special summoned that way for that turn until your end of your next turn, or your turn that's coming up. She gets sent back to your hand. So she gives you that protection that your spellcasters need. And seeing her, 3 is not, if you see her too much, just breaky, and 2 is fine because you do kind of want to see her in your hand, and so 2 is fine. And now for the 1 of Witchcrafter monsters, I run 1 Witchcrafter Madame Verre because in my build, I don't really try to spam her out quickly. She is good, but she is breaky in hand, and then She's more defensively than offensively. She is a 2800 defense monster, and her effect is that when your spellcaster is battling a monster, you could reveal spell cards from your hand, and for each spell card with different names, it gains 1000 attack. So it has that, and then plus during your opponent's turn, you could discard a spell card and negate the effect of all monsters currently on the field. So you gotta know that it's currently on the field. So let's say you had 2 monsters, your opponent summons 2 monsters, and he's trying to use this effect, and you do that, and then you negate their effects, right? Because they're currently on the field. So when now you give them a reason to use those 2 monsters to special summon, like, I don't know, Verre and Anaconda, something easy linked to, and then their effects goes because it's only currently on the field. It's not like Plasma. Plasma is greater and a skill drain effect than Witchcrafter, Madame Verre. And you gotta know the timing on her, because you could stop plays, or if you don't know the timing and you miss the timing, or you do it too early, and you still give them wiggle room, and then you kind of screwed over your turn. So she is good, but you got a good player knows when to activate her effect. So that's a good one of. And now for the next engine I run is the Windwitch engine, because I do have Crystal Wing, and I try to, this prevents you, because this deck is very, you know, if you ash this deck, or like any hand sharp kills this deck. So I want to have extenders, or like Windwitch, I could not commit to my normal plays, Witchcrafter plays, I could do something first and get that, you know, negated, and then I still go to with my Witchcrafter stuff. So I have that backup. So I run 3 Windwitch because you want to see her mostly for going first. My deck's built to go first, and you want to bring her out, or if you do see her, you know, special summon her because you have no monsters. And then you can special summon another Windwitch, and you will special summon now the other one I use is the Windwitch Glass Spell, and when after that they lock you to only special summoning level 5 or higher Synchro monsters or wind attribute monsters. So when you go first, you know, like, you gotta know that, and it's fine because you bring out Crystal Wing, you know, it still negates, and so you bring out Windwitch Glass Spell, and then I run the other one of is Windwitch Snowbell, because she lets you, when she special summons, she lets you add a Windwitch card or monster to your hand, and then you pretty much bring your Windwitch Snowbell, and when you have 2 wind attribute monsters, you can special summon her out, or the ball out. So yeah, and bring out, you know, Crystal Wing. So that's one engine I run. Now for the sauce, that I think it's about time to show you guys, and you know, I think you guys been patient enough. I run 3 Silent Magician, cause for the Spellcaster archetype, as well as she's good because you could tribute a Spellcaster monster on your side of the field to special summon her out, and during either player's turn she could negate a spell card. So she just negates, she gives you that 1 spell negate, and because Witchcrafters always like to add cards from their graveyard to your hand, she gains the ability that she gains 500 for each card in your hand. So she could be, you know, later in game to 3000, you know, 2500, and you know, she gets big every time you draw cards, and you know, she negates spell cards. And I do run the 1 Silent Magician level 8, because when she's destroyed with battle, you could special summon Silent Magician level 8, you know, and it's just he's a big beater, and yeah, great engine. Now for the spells, I run 3 Witchcrafter Creations because it's the best search card, and it's just when you activate it, you could search any Witchcrafter monster and to your hand, and then when during your end phase, like most of these Witchcrafter spells, they add, if you don't activate that turn, and this is your, let's say you just discard it for one of your Witchcrafter spells, at the end of the phase you get to add it back to your hand if you didn't use it. If you used Witchcrafter Creation and then phase you want to return it back, now you can't. It's only when like it's only once per turn. They're both effects. You can only use one of each of the effects per turn. So it's still great search card. For the next 3 O's, I run 3 Witchcrafter Unveiling because she lets you special summon Witchcrafter monster, and your opponent cannot activate cards for their activation. When you activate one of your Spellcaster monsters, they can't respond to it. And at the end phase, it does the same. You return it by the end phase if you didn't use it. If you just and it's just great because you could chain it. It's a quick play spell. When your opponent activates a hand trap or something, you could just chain it right away and special summon something. Because if you have Madame Veer or something breaky, it's just good in that regards. Thank you. And yeah, for the next 2 O's of the Witchcrafter spells, I run 2 Witchcrafter Holiday because going first, you don't have the reason to special summon from the graveyard just yet. It's more like later in game, and 2 is enough because I do run a Monster Reborn to be that 3rd special summon or monster from the graveyard. So 2 is fine, and then it has the same effect of at the end phase, if you didn't use it, it returns back to your hand. So that's why I run Silent Magician, because she does get big. And then I run the other 2 of Witchcrafter By Street, because when your opponent or when your Witchcrafter monster is going to be destroyed by a card effect or by battle, it protects it for once per turn. So the other one doesn't really give you much. It's like when it destroys a monster, you get to draw a card. But every time I've been running it, and haven't really been using that effect often. I always use this effect more often than not, because obviously when they activate Lightning Storm or something to destroy my Witchcrafter monsters, it protects it. And even when they attack it by battle, it still protects it once that turn. And yeah, just that protection that I really find it's awesome. And the end phase, if you didn't use the effect, it returns back to your hand, but it returns back to being activated. So instead of returning to your hand at the end of phase. So good, 2 good. Just 2 is enough. For the 1 of, I run 1 Witch Collaboration because you could target one of your Witchcrafter monster and it gains a 2nd attack, and at the end of the phase it returns back to your hand if you didn't use it. And I usually to end games real quick because you just want to take them by surprise and just end the game real quick. And for what I try, because I'm going first, and what I try to stun people out in a way, I would bring out the 3 Secret Village of the Spellcaster, because try to go first, have my spellcasters bring this out and not let you activate any spells. So let's say I don't know, something that's heavy, spell heavy, I just stun them out in a way. And I run 1 Terraforming because you want to search it out. I'm going first. And you could, if it's clogging your hand, you still could bring out, or you could still discard it for your Witchcrafter's effects. And then I run 3 Pot of Extravagance because this is the best draw card for this deck. Like Pot of Desires or other things that banish, this only banish your extra deck monsters, and that's okay because you don't really need it for this deck. It's not really extra deck heavy. It's more on your whole deck, and Pot of Extravagance just lets you draw 2 cards. So for the last 2, I run 2 Witchcrafter Patronus because it lets you add the banished monsters from your that are banished back to your hand. If this card was sent to the graveyard, not the turn that was sent that turn, lets you banish it and retrieve any of your banished Witchcrafter monsters, and it's just good just to have later in games. And that's the 2 of now. I'm going over the extra thing now, and for the first 2 I'm going to go over the links first. Run 2 Link Karibos because you have level 1 Genie. If they Nash you and they're gonna get your effect, you could go to Link Karibo because she is level 1 and you want her in your graveyard primarily. That's what you want her, because you want to activate one of your Witchcrafter's spells, and then once she's in graveyard you can banish her and do the same thing with that spell card. And 2, because I run Pot of Extravagance, that's why I run 2, and just 2 is fine. I would try to bring out Crystal Wing, so 2 is fine. Then I run 2 Almirage. 2 Almirage for the same reason, because you do have low level Witchcrafter monsters, and I just want them to go to the graveyard because they're better in the graveyard because they have those niche effects that you need during your turn. So just 2 is fine, 2 Almirages. And for the 1-0s, I run 1 Cerberus just to bounce something or destroy something. I run 1 Nightmare Unicorn, same reason, just here and there. I hardly see them because I use Potter Extravagance, but if you still have it in your extra deck, you can still go to them. I really bring out Crystal Wing. And then here's the other last link is Crusadia Equimax, because he gains the attack for each monster that are on his link arrows. So just to sometimes go over things. And now for the synchros, I run for the low level synchros. I run Stardust Assault Warrior. He's just here just because he's a 1 attribute, and sometimes I know later in games when you don't have Crystal Wing or something happens, at least he's there just to bring out. And I run 1 Windwitch Winterbell, same reason. I don't really try to bring her out. I just when something happens, I just try to see what I have in my extra deck and just bring them out, and she just does effect damage. And now for the 3-0s, I run first 3 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, because this is what I want to bring out, because of Potter Extravagance. I just want to bring this guy out, and then same reason I run 3 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, because they are they negate effects from monsters, and they're just great in that aspect. And I'm going first, try to bring him out, turbo him out. Then I still have my Witchcrafter's plays, or if they negate that, have other plays to go. And that's the deck profile, you guys. Hopefully it's a great deck. I like it so much. You don't know how much I like it. I've been made this deck last year, but I think this year this deck became pretty powerful in a way. If you see this deck profile, you will kind of like what I run. I know there's certain cards that are pretty expensive, but if you could make the effort, it will make this deck a little bit better. And I think that's pretty much it. This is Neo Overlay Network signing out.